Well, hi everybody. Today I'm going to explore the topic of mindfulness and how can we attain mindfulness in a hectic world? How can we cultivate inner peace? How can we cultivate this amid the chaos of everyday life? So, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about some of the practices of manifesting positivity in your life, how to attain a calm mind. And I can't promise I'm always calm, but how we can try to manifest calmness in ourselves and maybe give you some insights, a few techniques that can help you to cultivate inner peace amidst the chaos of everyday life, because it is. And nowadays, it's a very chaotic world, and our attention is being dragged all over the place, isn't it? You know, people are being turned into fish. They have no attention span whatsoever. And mindfulness is partly about keeping the attention and training the attention, so we're not constantly lost in the world around us. It's forever trying to grab us. You know, everything from Facebook, from the advertising, from all the social media that you might join. Even this video is sometimes just a distraction from the normality of everyday life. So it's no good to watching videos all the time, is it? We've got to actually learn to turn the world in a way into our workshop, turn the world into a place that can become something where we can manifest inner peace. So we want to learn to manifest both peace and positive thinking. The two really go hand in hand, because you can't be negative and be peaceful. You have to kind of have a positive view of the world, really, to even begin to get close to being at ease with yourself. Many people, I'm surprised just how negative people are. You know, they say sometimes, you know, is the glass half full or half empty? And that will tell us if you're an optimist or not. The question I have to ask is, some of us are lucky to have a glass at all. You know, I mean, this is where we have to be grateful for existence as it is. So it's not about if the glass is half full or half empty. You know, that's still kind of selfish, what I've got or I haven't got. And many of the problems we have in this world are because we're trying to grab what we think we should have. We feel entitled, that the world should owe us something, that we should be, for some reason, with all the struggles that go on in what we see around the world in nature, somehow we should be exempt from all that. And the world owes us something, you know. But it's not like that. So the world is a difficult place. And I think because of our I think one of the dangers of the world is because we have this sort of sense of kind of growing entitlement through the terrible materialism that comes in the world. You know, we've had more nowadays than ever in the history of mankind and humankind, I suppose I should say. And we've become very lazy spiritually. And haven't you noticed sometimes that the people often have less in a different way, have more? I mean, when you go to countries like India, for example, they might have less, but often are rich in happiness. And I believe that as we think, so the world around us becomes. This is what manifestation is. The power of thoughts change the world around us. The view we might have of this world might be materialistic, and that means we're always seeking happiness somewhere else. We're always seeking happiness outside. But this world is also spiritual. All of it is spiritual already, because it's all in our mind. Everything I see, every color, every picture, everything you're looking at now is actually just a picture being manifested in your mind from your perceptions, but it's still all in the mind. So if we become peaceful within, the whole world becomes peaceful, because whatever's manifested in the mind becomes peace itself. So everything we look at, everywhere we look, everything we see can become peace incarnate. It can be pure peace because it's us, it's our inner view of the world. It can change the world itself. And thoughts also manifest things in the real world, as it were, too. You know, The world can be transformed, like I say, into a spiritual place of heaven. It can be heaven on earth. Didn't someone say the kingdom of heaven lies within you? You know, we carry the kingdom of heaven within us. And we can equally turn it into a depressive hell by constantly making the mind think that there's something wrong and carry this endless anxiety with us. But no, the power of positive thought is very simple, really, because you're completely in control of it. That's the wonderful thing. You know, we can get trapped, of course, with our beliefs. Perhaps sometimes our beliefs, we can start getting into bad patterns of thinking. You know, it's like the brain works through neural networks where there's always being like channels cut all the time, and we can create many bad habits in ourselves that can really break down our positivity, because we just get into the habit of being unhappy, or we get into the habit of being depressed, or we get into the habit of thinking everybody else got more than I have, you know, or we get into the habit of thinking somewhere out there it's all happy, you know, but in here is where we got to find it. So it's very important, I think, that our intentions change our inner reality, and our intentions change our outer reality, and actually shape our experience and create and attract things into our life. One of the most practical tips, I think, for manifesting positivity is staying focused within, living from the inside and not being pulled away all the time. And there's many ways we can do that. For example, we can, you know, it's hard because our brains are always pulled away, and there's lots of people around us always pulling our thoughts and attention away. So how are we going to do it? Well, one technique is to use the breath, because that's something we carry with us all the time. It's very portable. And if we can bring our attention all the time to our breath, it often just, well, it will just calm the mind. One of the meditation techniques that you can practice at home, it's the simplest one of all, is to sit down and simply watch the breath. Just don't try to change it. Don't try to make it prolonged, or don't try to make it do anything. Just watch it. Just watch it. And if you can learn to do that, and I tell you, it's hard, because your mind will get, oh, I'm bored. It'll make every single excuse there is around to not watch the breath. But if you can train the attention just to simply sit and watch the breath, you know, it's like watching a beautiful river flow, or something in nature unfold, because it's just there all the time. It's you, it's your life force. So in meditation, it's a good idea to watch the breath. But the incredible thing about the breath is we can bring the breath with us everywhere. So when things start getting a bit bad around you, or you feel yourself about to go off the rails or something, or you're going to freak out over something, or you're going to lose your temper. You know, I tell you, I've been a person that used to have pretty bad temper, still can have, particularly when it comes to driving, but I can still have a bit of a temper with things. So my technique is watch the breath. You know, someone's going on at you, just watch the breath. Then your breath, your attention's on the breath. It's not on what's trying to aggravate you, or trying deliberately to upset you, or trying to push your buttons. There's no buttons to press, because your attention is on the breath again. And it's a very powerful technique, that, you know, enormously powerful, and yet it's so simple. And I think also attitude's important too, you know. An attitude in our minds of gratitude. You know, like I said, we've got a glass. We're lucky. We've got a glass. It might be empty, but we've got a glass. You know, always in the world, the very fact that we've got life, the very fact that we've even got breath, is a manifestation of positivity in our life. Surely, you know. So gratitude is a powerful force for attaining peace of mind and being present. Be grateful with what you got here and now. You can't own anything, actually, can you, in this life? You think about it. You can't own a car. You can have a car, but you can't really own it, because it's there. It's only outside of yourself somewhere. The only thing you can own is the inner world, you know? So you can actually own everything. You can go into a beautiful hotel and own the lot, because it's all me. Or you can go into somewhere horrible and you can own that too, but you're not worried, because you're not attached, you see. And this is, I think, where gratitude can also link in with this feeling of transcendence and non-attachment. It's a very powerful thing. Just grateful what comes, and accepting things, accepting things as it is, you know, as it is, just as it is. That's fine. If you're unhappy with your life, of course, you can also make affirmations to yourself and remind yourself that things will get better. This is kind of a faith that things will get better, but they are already better, but you don't know it. But, if you're stuck, you can make an affirmation, or you can do a visualization. This is why I do a lot of visualization meditations, for example, with the people that join me for mentoring and so forth. When I'm teaching people online, I teach you to, just to get the mind thinking in positive ways, bringing up positive images rather than constantly bringing up, oh my God, it's all going to go wrong. No, it's not. It's positive. You teach yourself, you train the unconscious mind to come up with beautiful images of nature and things like that. And all those wonderful thoughts that you can have, can be manifest. The brain can come up with incredible stuff, more beautiful than any animation or any incredible thing that been designed by anybody else. The inner world of inner thoughts and beauty is more beautiful than the world outside. So we can start to shift our negative thought patterns by training ourselves to be positive within, to actually harness the positive power of the brain to create good imagery. This is where meditation can come in. But don't forget the breath one. That's perhaps one of the most important ones to help you focus. And you can bring this into life, because you can carry, you can do all the visualization meditations elsewhere, but the breath is always with you day by day. Every step you take through the world, the breath can be there, and you can use it when you need it, or you can use it all the time. You can keep the focus coming back to the breath. Even doing something complicated or even automatic, like driving a car, you can still have one part of the attention on the breath, just keeping you calm, and the breath will calm the body too, will calm the mind. It's a win-win situation. Tension on the breath calms you, the breath calms you, and so one reinforces the other. So some of these are the ideas of developing what they call mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is really, it's a more modern sort of phrase. It's kind of bringing meditation into daily life. That's what mindfulness is. And it's being in the here and now, having attention, being with the present moment, and not being kind of lost all the time, being drawn away from the present position. And this is where I say deep breathing exercises help. You can also, if you're really stuck and things are just not going right in your life, again, there's many meditation techniques you can use that are simply reduce stress. I teach my people, again, when I first start teaching someone with my mentoring, I'll teach how to relax and really relax. Relax. This techniques in yoga that will teach you to get into states of relaxation that you just never dreamed possible. And those techniques are very good. They can be done in meditation posture, or can be done laying down, or they can be done as you go to sleep at night. And they can also influence the background energy of your life and your thinking. So we can create a peaceful inner sanctuary within ourselves. And even in the hectic world of business, everyday life, even when an argument's happening with somebody or there's a difficulty going on of some sort, we can find that calm center. Because I've always been a person, I don't believe in being too passive in the world. I believe it's very important that you think for yourself. I think it's very important you question authority. So I've always been a sort of go for it person. But I kind of, in my life, have had to train myself also sometimes actually just stay in that inner sanctuary. You can still do all these things, but that inner sanctuary within yourself can always be there. You can create one in your own world as well. I'm lucky enough to have a spare room that I can put aside just for my yoga and meditation. For me, that is like a yogi going into the forest, because I go into that place and I shut the door and that's it. I know I'm not going to be disturbed. No social media, no phones with me, and I can be at peace. Just me and existence, me and being. And that is wonderful. And that, if you can find the space, if you can find the time or place to do that, it's wonderful. You might even, I know people that will sit, for example, they haven't got a room where they can do that. And a good tip, they just used to sit on the top of the stairs, because that's somewhere there's no distraction, and sit at the top of the stairs and meditate there. Not perfect, but you can sometimes find a place or make a little place, maybe somewhere in the garden if it's quiet, if you're lucky, if you've got a garden. But, if you hopefully you can find a place, but the place needs to be in yourself, And so we can start to learn to integrate positivity and calmness. They can become habitual. And the two go together, of course, as I was saying, that calmness and positivity have to be hand in hand. And I think also they come with acceptance. Because if you think about it, a lot of the stress we have is caused by thinking the world's got to be different to what it is. Why should I have to put up with this suffering in life? I'm entitled not to be like that. Well, that's true. You are peace itself. Your being is pure consciousness and bliss. But the world does throw stuff at us, doesn't it? And I think there's resistance to that often causes the stress, because I don't want the world to be this way. It's got to be something different. That's a mistake. We've got to accept the world as it is. Like they say, change what we can change in the world, but those things we can't change, we have to accept. And that acceptance is actually a big part of it, actually, because we all the time think the world should be something different, and we don't like the way it is. I don't like the idea I'm getting older. What's wrong with that? It's just part of the flow of life. I'm lucky. I don't like the idea that I don't have any money. Well, that's all right. Money's not everything. That's not the inner world. You can do those things. You can do practical things about it, but don't stress yourself out about it. Oh, I don't like the fact that I'm on my own. I've got no partner. What, you're going to find a partner and find happiness somewhere else outside of yourself? You're not going to have a happy relationship until you're at peace within yourself. You apply it to all these everyday things, and it always comes back to the same sort of idea that you've got to find your inner sanctuary first, your inner peace first. And this is what we would call inner peace, positivity, and mindfulness. They're all kind of linked, aren't they? Really, these are my thoughts about it. But if you can manifest positivity, you can manifest peace in even the worst of situations. Just because the world's gone wrong doesn't mean to say that you have an excuse to end your inner peacefulness. I have a friend, for example, recently, who just chaos happened around them. Absolute chaos. You couldn't believe how difficult it was for them. Everything went wrong in their life, in their business, all at once, and health and all sorts of things, all collapsing at once. But actually, they'd been learning about meditation, and it clicked to them. I'm just going to be Zen about this. I'm just going to be Zen. I'm just going to go through this and just be at peace. I don't care. It's all just happening. It's all out there. And he took that attitude, actually, and a miracle happened. All the things that were going wrong all flipped. Suddenly the doctor's reports were good. Suddenly he was offered opportunities in work and financial opportunities and all sorts. It completely flipped. And I'm sure there's a lot to do here with the fact that, if you get your inner world right, the outer world will sort itself out. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be added to it. I think that's what it says in the Bible somewhere. But it is true, though, isn't it? We find that inner heaven first, and then the rest falls into place. So those are my main tips, really. And let's just summarize some of the main things that I've suggested here to you. And there might be lots more you can add. And please do put them in the comments below, because this is, you're not going to get all the answers to life, universe, and everything in one video. But the things I've learned from life is that one has to first and foremost know that the happiness you're seeking is not outside. That's the wrong place to look for it. The happiness you're seeking is within yourself. It's not in other people even. It's not even in having lovely family and all the rest of it. No, that's still not it. It's got to always be within yourself. Then the universe will manifest for you. Remain positive always. Even into this day, don't compare yourself to everybody else. There'll always be someone worse off than you. There'll always be someone better off than you. And have the compassion to think for those that are worse off from you, and don't worry about those that are better off for you. If you can be compassionate and you can live a life knowing that you're blessed just to be here, you're blessed just to have consciousness, you're blessed just to have being alone, all of it is a blessing. The very fact that you exist and are conscious of existing is incredible. And try to do some of the techniques I suggested there. Watching the breath is probably the most important. Visualization can be a very good positive thing. There's loads of other meditation exercises out there, but bring them into your daily life. And breath is the key, I feel. Use the breath to bring you back all the time. Brings you back to the consciousness. If you've learned to go into a very deep meditation using the breath, switching your mind quickly to the breath can connect you with the deep meditation you might have done a week ago. You know, it keeps you on the path. So it's all simple, really. All common sense, this I'm saying to you here. All common sense, but it takes a long time, I think, to let it sink in. And the last thing I think is go with the flow in life. Don't always resist it. We do have to change the world. No good sitting back and just obeying the world, etc. No, that's true. There's lots we have to fight for in life. But the general direction of your life really is best to just go with it. And if bad things come along in your life, you know, it's like the weather. Sooner or later, it'll change. It'll change into something else. And just go with the flow. And realize all the time that actually what you need is not out there. It's in here. It's in here. Live from the inside. Live your life from the inside. And mark my words, happiness will manifest. Okay, thanks for joining me. I hope you found that inspiring. Happiness is. Now, you've not watched it, but I'd be interested in what your take is of what do you think happiness is and how do people achieve it?
Happiness is being peaceful with yourself and getting on with life and enjoying people, enjoying the garden, feeling contented. And happiness is something that comes within us, not just outside of us. Happiness is, I find happiness as love, caring, and being contented.
Okay. And do you think there's any permanent form of happiness? I mean, when happiness is taken away for people, sort of like when we do readings with people and they've had a death or lost somebody, they obviously look at the world and see it as a completely different place, an unhappy place. What would you say to people who've had things torn away? Is there any form of finding a permanent happiness in
Well,
life?
happiness, once again, will be people surrounding us, giving us love and picking us up to comfort us and to be there for us. And like life, we're going to experience suffering, because how will we know what happiness is if we haven't suffered in this life?
Well, that's true. You have to suffer to know happiness. And when we see, I mentioned on my talk that I said about when we saw Sharavana Baba, he always says to us, "Are you happy?" Right? Why do you think he says that? Because he says it to lots of people.
Because happiness is the essence of the soul. Happiness is who we are. Happiness is really for good things happening around us that makes us happy. We can be happy, experience good food. We can be happy because people have done well for themselves. We can be happy if we have a new house. We can be happy for others. It's an unselfish act.
But really, the ultimate happiness, I said in my video, was really the realization that that is the absolute center of one's self.
Atom.
It's the very core of one's being. Would you agree with that? And I think that's why people like Sharavana and Sai Baba say, "Are you happy?" Because they're saying, "Are you in touch with the absolute in yourself?"
Well, happiness is that you've reached a sort of higher, I'd say, a higher self-awareness that makes you happy.
Yeah.
Because if you're on a spiritual path, it doesn't make people happy, then they come off that. So happiness has to be, well, as a woman, strong, confident, and happy with people around you. Happiness within the heart.
Well, there we go. And I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoy this channel, I'm going to tell you again, please don't forget to follow us. Click that little bell thing. And, you know, if you like what you see with our videos, go and have a look at our website, find out about our books, find out about the readings and things we do. There's lots more there, and you can ask questions on some of the articles and so forth. And don't forget, follow this channel. Do share it with your friends if you would. Please post it on groups if you find it interesting, on your Facebook groups and so forth. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.